Hello, everyone. Hello. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. You don't know where you are. Welcome to our Time to Talk, our bi weekly or fortnightly program to talk about mediumship. Um, I am Raf. I'm here with Guilherme. We are the co-hosts of this program. Good evening, Guilherme. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Raf. Nice to be here.
Yeah,
Nice to see our friends back here as well. So, very good.
very nice. I can see already a comment on YouTube from Elsa. Hello, dear friends. Big hug from London. Hi, Elsa. Thanks for joining us as usual. We are starting our time to talk. As I said, our program or chat show, let's say, to cover mediumship topics. Um, Today we are going to our episode 14, which is mediumship and spiritism. We're going to talk about that in a second. Before, let me just go through my housekeeping announcements as usual. There you go. Quick reminder, Guilherme and I are members of the Spiritist Society of London, SSL. It's a study group that has online meetings and face to face meetings. The online on Tuesdays, face to face on Thursday, where we study the Spirit's book and the Gospel according to Spiritism. If you'd like to join us or understand a bit more about the initiatives we have, just go on Facebook and like our page so you can check what is on. BUS, the British Union of Spiritist Society, which is a federation of Spiritist societies here in the UK, also has a lot of initiatives to disseminate the knowledge around Spiritism, especially in the UK. But I guess it touches a bit of Europe and everywhere, to be honest. And finally, Kardec Radio, which has been around for over 10 years now, trying to bring as much content as possible in English about Spiritism across the globe. Kardec Radio has a great app with pretty much every single piece of content in English that you can find on Spiritism. So go download the app because they have a lot of things that you can enjoy in different formats. What they all have in common, they're all committed to talk about Spiritism and spread the knowledge about Spiritism. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of hellos. Let me say hello to everyone. Um, Elsa is already interested in the theme, saying interesting theme. Um, Ebony saying hello. Hi, Ebony. Nice to see you. Um, Ruben de los Santos, hello. Nice to listen to Spiritist teachings. Greetings from Uruguay. Munir, hello, Munir. Greetings from Curitiba, Brazil. Very nice to see you all there. Um, Let me move to the next one. So, our episode today is Mediumship in Spiritism. And why are we talking about this? So, today I want to try to take us back to the basics. Um, because I noticed that until now, when we were talking about mediumship, exploring the topics and having the discussions, we were explaining a lot from the Spiritist perspective. There's a lot of principles and concepts that come from Spiritism. They are the base of the understanding of the mediumistic phenomena that you probably never deep dived in any of the episodes. So today we want to have a broader conversation about Spiritism. As usual, the beauty of our chat show, I like that. I think I'm going to start calling it a chat show. Um, the beauty about Time to Talk is your participation. So today, especially, it's such a broad topic. If you have any questions, any comments, disagreements with what we are saying, drop a comment in your box. We're going to bring them up. We're going to read them and try to address here live. And oh, I see another comment here. Who is here? Tammy. Oh, hi, Tammy. Good evening. Greetings. Um, so, Guilherme, I'm going to go back to you, of course, with the first question, which is, what is Spiritism?
Rafael, depends who you ask. Depends where you ask. If we consider Brazil as one area where Spiritism is widespread, a lot of people say that it's a religion. Are they right to say that? Yes. But we need to understand what religion this word means. Religions come from the Latin religare, means connect. So anything that connect people is a religion. So I used to say, like, people call football a religion because that word can also be applicable for football, for anything you like, because connect people.
So, common interests.
Yes, yes. But the Spiritism from France, from Kardec, was not meant to become a religion. It's more like a philosophy and science. But they also connect people. So, as I said, depend who you ask. If you ask me, do you consider Spiritism your religion? Sort of, yeah. But consider the Spiritism more my philosophy of life and the science that can explain a lot of things in life than religion. Because religion sometimes connects you to something that is very old, from like hundreds and hundred years ago. We know a lot of problems and blah blah blah, and that's not the goal of Spiritism. The goal of Spiritism is to connect people with other people and with ourselves, so we can understand who we are and how better we can become. So, what do you think about my answer?
I like it. I agree with it, and especially there's an element. The more I study about Spiritism, the more I am interested in understanding it as a philosophy above anything else. And I completely understand your comment about the religion. That it's very often that the term religion has like a negative connotation. Or not, I wouldn't say negative necessarily, but it has a heavy connotation with things that might have been used in the past for other goals different than helping people elevate them and contribute to a greater good, which in principle that's what it should be. But I understand why there's this disconnect sometimes. But the more I read about Spiritism and the more I read about the, the different lines of thoughts that philosophers had and developed, the inspirations, the principles that they brought, that in reality comes from a place of reflection, reflection about life, reflection about yourself as a person, as an individual, and how your individuality interacts with the other ones. That element usually gets my curiosity and interest um, more and more. So for me, I like to associate Spiritism with philosophy. Although, as you said, you can the more you study and read about it, the more you see that there are so many elements of what you can call a religion. There are so many elements that you can call it a science. That it's 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 a mix. It's a mix.
Mhm.
I think depending on who is interested in how you get in contact and how much of it you, I guess, study, you might be drawn to one side or the other.
Mhm. I have a question, Rafael.
Go
As
do
we
it.
said that word religion,
Yeah.
which was Jesus' religion? Which one was his religion?
Very interesting question. I think there are different answers to that. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But as far as I know, first of all, Jesus did not create any religion himself, as far as I understand. Um, as far as I know, he was born in a religion, but his life was not lived through the principles or guidance or uh, customs of that religion. So I would say Jesus didn't have any religion. That's what I would say.
I would say he had one:
Okay.
love.
Mm.
That was his religion. And we see so many people fighting for that trademark, like, if you can call it that. But his religion was love. So he's
Fair.
everywhere.
Fair comment. Yeah. Very fair comment. If I try to pull us back to Spiritism, we're going to talk about Jesus. We're going to talk about Jesus. But I just want to explore Spiritism a bit more. Where did Spiritism come from? Where, how did the Spiritism appear in our lives in this planet? Um, can you share a bit of how Spiritism came to life?
Yes.
Because I'm trying to get to the link to mediumship.
Okay.
We're gonna get there, but you tell me.
I will say something that some people may jump.
Okay.
Spiritism always exists. But that word,
What?
spiritism, that word spiritism started when Kardec started to compile this tremendous amount of work he did. But when I said spiritism always been there, it's because the phenomena, the principles, the philosophy was accessible to everyone. Everyone could have access to that knowledge. We had so many people way before Kardec having the same principles, but not compiled as Kardec did. The word spiritism was born with Kardec type of thing, right? I think that is one of the answers for one of your questions. The other question I think you did was about how that started in our lives. Well, we need to understand that most of us that can that we are spiritists, this is our first incarnation as a spiritist for the great majority. Few may have a second one. In my particular case, I was born in a spiritist family. So my mom, at the time, she was from Catholicism. She was Catholic. And my father was a spiritist. And I used to go in both places. And I saw that as very natural. But when I was start to be able to make questions, I could only find answers in the Spiritism. I could not find answers anywhere else. And I've started my tasks. I started to work, let's say, on the Spiritism in a very young age. I remember when I was very young, being asked to participate in lectures. I had my first mediumship meeting when I was 15 years old. And to me, it's like, I don't know how to explain better because always been there for me. Like, always being very open to me. And I'm very thankful for that. What about you?
Um, it was kind of similar, to be honest. I think as far as I remember, my family, my mother first. I think it started with her. I think my mother had like a exploratory period of her life. I think where she was trying to find answers, and then she went through different religions or places, and then the questions kept being unanswered. So she ended up going to a Spiritist center, and then I went with her. I think as far as I remember, I was a kid. I was already there with her. So I was lucky to be. It was always part of what I knew. Um, so similar, similar to you. I have comments that I want to bring up because I think they are very nice comments. And Ebony put it in very good words. Um, what she thinks Spiritism is. She says Spiritism can be considered a scientific, experiential, and observable study of the laws of God and the workings of the universe. Very, very, very nicely put. Munir is saying that he agrees. He brings knowledge about a part of the reality that is not material but spiritual. Very, very good. Um, I want to share a little video because I'm going to talk a bit about the origins of Spiritism. I think Guilherme already gave us the highlights. That Spiritism as a term and as a collective of teachings, let's say it, or it came with Kardec. Kardec was the one that organized the teachings. And there's a little video. It will be 3-4 minutes, so just bear with me, and then we can come back and comment. So let me bring the video up. Oh, here. And there we go.
By 1850, in the United States and Europe, the phenomenon of table turning had become very popular, crowding concert halls with hundreds of spectators who wanted to see such freely flying objects up close. It was also common in private gatherings within family homes. Hippolyte Léon Denisard Rivail, a renowned French educator, initially did not pay attention to such events. Rivail considered them to be possible outcomes of some unconsciously generated physical phenomenon by the participants themselves, thus being irrelevant. But after hearing from a friend who considered himself a serious person that the objects answered questions, he became interested because he saw in this detail something worthy of research.
I will only believe when I see this for myself, and when I am proved that the table has brains to think and nerves to feel.
After attending several of these meetings and reviewing dozens of past meeting records, Rivail concluded that the deep and complex answers came from outside intelligences to those who served as mediums at such meetings. It was necessary further and deeper investigations.
That left no doubt. My ideas were far from accurate, but there was a fact that necessarily followed from occurs. I saw in those apparent futilities something serious like the revelation of a new law, which I took to study in depth.
After testing and ruling out any possibility of fraud with the mediums he would use for his research, Rivail submitted to the spirits a series of questions aimed at elucidating problems concerning the philosophy, psychology, and nature of the invisible world.
First of all, I understood the seriousness of the exploration I was going to undertake. I realized in this phenomenon the key to the obscure and controversial problem of the past and future of humanity. It was, in short, a whole revolution in ideas and beliefs. Therefore, it was necessary to work with the utmost circumspect and not lightly. Be positivist and not idealistic, so as not to deceive me.
Kardec formulated and tested several hypotheses in order to explain mediumistic phenomena, among them fraud, hallucinations, physical forces, somnambulism, unconscious clairvoyance, telepathy, and disembodied spirits. To reassure that the information obtained would be reliable, he used different mediums, distant and unknown to each other, for the crossing of the answers. The result of this extensive research was published in the Spirits book, April 18, 1857. It contained the principles of the Spiritist teachings on the nature of spirits, their manifestations, and their relations with men, the moral laws, the present and future life, and the future of humanity. written under the dictation and published by order of superior spirits by Allan Kardec.
When questioned about its nature, this force has declared itself to belong to the world of spirit beings who have divested themselves of the human corporeal envelope. In this way, the doctrine of the spirits has been revealed.
Details of the scientific method used by Revive and about the superior spirits who communicated the Spiritist teachings will be seen in our next studies. Do not.
So, why am I bringing the? Yeah, go, Guilherme. You go.
I cannot miss that opportunity to talk about Kardec's accent. That was very good. I love it.
I think first of all, thank you to the Spiritist Academy and the iSpirits channels for that video. If you're French and you're watching this and you're offended, I'm sorry. I apologize. The video is not mine. Let's take it with a pinch of humor. But yes, a quite distinctive accent, let's say. But why am I bringing the explanation behind the Spiritism? Just so we understand when we talk about Kardec and the books, and you can already see the close connection between Spiritism and mediumship from the beginning. But now that you understand a bit more about like where this is coming from, there are some principles, there are key principles that we base pretty much all of our opinions, analysis, and the books that we read and the things that we look at in the phenomena on. And what are those principles? Some of them, of course, we already covered here, but we will look again. Let me bring my slide back. There you go. So what are these principles? First one is spirits, the existence of spirits. As the video showed in the Spirits book, it's pretty much the first book that Kardec published that contained the majority of the teachings from the spirits, from that philosophical perspective, if I may. There's a single question that it says, how may we define spirits? It's question 76. And the Spirit says, we can say that spirits are the intelligent beings of creation. They populate the universe beyond the material world. So spirits are not part of the creator. They are intelligent beings of creation, individuals, independent. We are spirits. Guilherme is a spirit. I'm a spirit. All of you watching are spirits. So some of us are in the body at the moment, incarnate, and some of us are not. So after death, we just remain spirits. We become a spirit again, if I can say that. We never stop being spirits, anyways. And we preserve our individuality. Guilherme?
One thing came to my mind is that the materialism that was very strong at Kardec's time and still there may say that when we passed, nothing is left. That's it. That's the end. And some of them used to say that we are a chemical reaction. Everything is related to our existence is part of a chemical reaction. So as we know that a chemical reaction follow a pattern, I think it would be fair to say that we all should be exactly the same, in a sense that we should like the same things, we would like to dance the same music, we would like to eat the same food, we probably would think the same type of thoughts, and that's not true. So how can a chemical reaction be different from one person to another? It doesn't make much sense. And with the contact we have with mediumship meetings, we start to have enough evidence that something remains after we lose our bodies. So what it is? What is it? That's the question. Something that can talk, have reasoning about some subjects, and even talk to us. So what is that?
Yeah. I think in the first couple of episodes we talked a lot about like the multiple examples that we have that our intelligence, our spirit lives after death and so on. And I think that is the first principle I think that we bring from Spiritism that explains and is connected to mediumship, is that we are all immortal spirits. I have another question from the Spirits book that I want to bring here. Let me show again. After this one, another question in the Spirits book that I think it's worth for us to carry on as a principle that comes with that is question 115. Have some spirits been created good and other evil? The spirits say, God has created all spirits simple and ignorant, that is, without knowledge. Spirits acquire knowledge by experiencing the trials that God has imposed on them. Some humbly accept these trials and thus arrive more quickly at their destiny, whereas others cannot endure them without complaining. The key here, there's a few problematic words here, but the key context here I would say is no spirit is created good or bad. We are all created simple and ignorant. So we are all spirits created the same in a journey towards a destination. What is that destination? We'll see in a second. How do we get there? Through the experiences, the trials that we have in our lives. A big item here that I want to bring that's very connected to the whole we are spirits, we're independent and individuals, is that they say that our journey to that destination, it's quicker or not, depending on how we accept and how we live through the trials that we have in our lives. So there's another element here that's super important, which is free will. We are spirits created all the same, simply ignorant individualities. We're not part of a bigger thing. We're not a piece of a bigger thing. No, we're individualities, and we have our free will to carry on with our lives. That is the big first principle that I want to bring from Spiritism. That is the underlying explanations around or for mediumship. Guilherme, you have a thinking face. Do you want to add anything before I go on? Okay. The next one, so let's keep that in mind. We are immortal spirits. The next one, if we go through the questions in the Spirit's book, is the plurality of existences. Question 132 asks, what is the purpose of the incarnation of spirits? God imposes incarnation for the purpose of leading spirits to perfection. They must undergo all the vicissitudes of corporeal existence. Two words I want to explain here before even I make a comment is plurality. What is plurality? Whenever I see words that I'm not used to, I have to go to the dictionary to find them so I can understand what's going on. Plurality comes from plural, so it's like large number of things. So here, the plurality of existences mean the many existences, the multiple existences. The other word here that pops to my eyes are vicissitudes. What does it mean? Vicissitudes are the challenges of life, are the ups and downs of life, but usually focusing on the downs, so the issues that we face in our life. So the spirits are telling us that the purpose of our incarnation, which is to have a body here in this planet, there is an opportunity that God gave us for us to get to perfection by facing those challenges in our lives, which is pretty much what we saw in the other question as well. So just kind of repeating it to see if it sticks. Thais sent a question here already. Great. She says, we can't be perfect, can we? Can we, Guilherme?
Yes, we can. But not now. The goal of reincarnations, the law of progress, is exactly to allow us to be perfect one day. So today, yeah, we are not there yet, but we had good examples, and Jesus is the best one of them. And he told us we are also gods. So that means we have the potential to grow, to evolve. And that's what we're doing every day. You cannot be perfect just now, but you can be better tomorrow than you are today.
Yeah.
It's only up to you. But if you decide not to, fair enough, you're going to stay behind because some other people will. So, a word of advice, try to be better tomorrow because that's what we are trying here. We're trying to be better, not for anybody else, but to ourselves.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think instead of, if you think that perfection is a destiny, progress is the path. So if just think, as Guilherme said, to think about now. So can I be perfect? I'm so far from it. But what I need to focus on is to be better tomorrow than I was today. That's all I can expect and I can work towards. Thais sent a follow-up question. If when we reach perfection, we become part of God, then I am going to go back. Then I'm going to go back to my first slide. What did they say here? We can say that spirits are the intelligent beings of creation, but if they were created by God, they cannot be God. In the Spiritist book, there is a extensive part that dedicates explicitly to the differentiation and the reasoning behind. Does it make sense to understand us as part of God or part of a bigger thing or individualities? So it's very the rationale behind it's very good and very extensive on there. So I would 100% recommend. Guilherme, I know you want to say. I want you to say. Go, Guilherme. You say it.
Well, we are individuals and we will remain as such. When Jesus said to us, you are also gods, it means that we could process the nature, we could process the magnetism, we could do things like he did. And we are not there yet. And 2000 years went by. But in the essence, we have the potential to learn and to use things that other people may say we are gods because they would not understand what we are doing. So we need to go to the extent of our capabilities. And one day we will. And when we arrive there, we'll be able to do things that today you would call miracle. You could say, wow, that guy's from another world, or he's a godlike. But everything under the God's law of nature, and there's no magic there. No magic there at all. It's just that one day we'll be able to learn how to understand some phenomena that we don't today. We'll be able to manipulate the matter in a different way that we do. And then we are getting closer, step by step to a higher level, but we remain ourselves.
Let me go back to the plurality of existences. So here we're connecting what we said about we are spirits. We are here, incarnate as opportunities to progress, and we have our free will to make that journey quicker or longer, depending on us, on our decisions, and how we face the challenges and issues that we have in our lives. Still in the plurality of existences, though, the spirits ask, the Kardec asks, question 166, how can a soul who did not reach perfection during its corporeal life complete the work of its purification? Guilherme gave like a little hint on that one with the reincarnation. If we are here to reach perfection, progress and reach perfection, that's the goal that God gave us as an objective. And Thais put it very nicely. Look, I don't think I'm going to reach perfection in this life. I am with you. I'm with you in your team, Thais. I don't think I'm going to reach perfection in this life. How am I going to get there then? The Spirit say, by submitting to the trial of a new existence. For this to occur, it needs the trial of corporeal life. We all live many lives. So, what are the spirits telling us? They are bringing to us another key fundamental principle of our journey, of our experience as immortal spirits in this planet. Reincarnation, right? After having left one body behind, the soul then takes another. In other words, he reincarnates into a new body. Only without going too deep, but if you think about it, up until this moment, this is the only way or the best explanation I received to understand the issues, the challenges, the justice or injustice that we see around us, is that element of reincarnation that brings back to us the issues that we might have committed in the past, the problems we might have generated in the past that we need to fix now, the opportunities that we have to show, to learn, to teach from what we learned in the past. And only by coming here multiple times, if we keep progressing day by day, we'll reach our final destination. So that is the second big ticket item that I would bring from as a base from Spiritism that shows us or explains to us about mediumship. The thing is, okay, so you are immortal spirits. We reincarnate. So when we die, we are free from the body, then we come back again, we have a new body, new name, new experiences, then I die again, and I repeat until I am perfect. But how is that in between? Do spirits reincarnate straight away? Is it I die and then the next day I'm reincarnating a new body, I'm a new baby? How does that work? The spirits tell us that it can take from a few hours to thousands of centuries. So it's not like a single rule. Usually there are intervals between incarnations, which leaves another question in my mind. So where do spirits go in between those incarnations then? What's happening to them? Where do they go somewhere? Is there like do they go to a star? Do they go to the moon, or what?
How can we try to make a comparison where the spirits are going after the death? Nowadays, we see a lot in the movies, articles about multiverse. And then the kids, probably like 10, 12, they know better than me what multiverse is, because We have so many nice movies talking about it now. It's like a multiverse. When we lose our physical body, we still have our spiritual body in a different state of matter, in a different vibration. So to better understand, in a different universe, and they interact. Where you in particular will go depends of who you are, and you are what you choose to do in your incarnation. If you are a very positive person, always helping others, doing good, your vibration, we can say, is a kind of elevated. So you go to that level, to that stage of the universe. And the opposite is also true. If you decide to do everything against that, your vibration will be dense. You're not a very positive person. So you go to a universe that's compatible to your level of vibration. And a lot of people over the centuries used to talk about heaven and hell. But this is just an example, just words. You will be driven to the place that are equal to your vibrations, they are equal to yourself. So we can end up in so many different places, even in between. So what I would suggest is that if we have that notion that we can go up or down, or if we go left or right, do your best to go to a better place. But that's not heaven, like many people say, right?
Yeah.
And that could be for a period, as Rafael said. You may be in that area for a period, go up just for better understanding, go up or go down, left or right. It depends on yourself, because you still need to work, you still need to learn, need to help on the other side as well. So everything you do here, you have to do on the other side. So one complete another. And then that will define your final bus station.
Yeah. So, what Guilherme is describing then, is there this other universe or reality where the spirits go then? As like anything else, Kardec asked that to the spirits, and I brought the answer. Question 84 from Sweet's book. Do spirits comprise a separate world beyond the one we see? Yes. The world of spirits or incorporeal intelligences. He follows up. 85. Which of the two, the spirit world or the corporeal world, one, is the principal one in the order of things? The spirit world. It is pre-existent to and will survive everything else. So it's starting then to give us a bit more flavor in terms of, by the way, the reality is actually the spirit, the true reality is the spiritual reality. Because, but to be honest, if you start thinking about we are immortal spirits and we have reincarnation, and we say that we are coming here on stages as incarnated spirits to progress, but in reality, this is a moment, this is a temporary characteristic I have, let's say, or name or a group of experiences. True, this is perishable. This is gonna stay in the past, but my spirit's gonna go on. So that must be the real reality. Go.
Something
Yeah.
came to my mind, Rafael.
Yeah.
We are in the same world, but
Yeah.
we cannot survive at the depth of the ocean. And we cannot survive very high in the mountains either. Some people adapt. I will die if I go over there. But if we go to the stratosphere of our world, we'll die. Without equipment, without proper protection, we'll die. Under the ocean is the same. Are we in different universes? Sort of. Likewise, a fish from deep down, if it comes over here, he'll blow because different of pressure. So we have examples around us that would make us understand how it's possible to have another type of world that coexists with our physical world. We have plenty of examples. But if you decide not to give a chance, of course, I don't want to understand anything. I don't want to accept anything. A prime example now, James Webb is the new try from NASA to find different life. It's a massive step to find new worlds, find new form of lives. But perhaps we have something very closer to us and we don't see. As you said, Kardec pointed in his answer, or the spirits point to Kardec in the answer. The origin is the spiritual world. Perhaps we are passing by every day. We have hundreds of satellites showing what we cannot see because it's a different state of matter. Do we have really a spiritual world? If we don't exist, why sometimes we are so afraid of it? Why we are afraid about spirits? Why we don't have a nice dinner in the cemetery? There are a lot of questions we can ask ourselves.
Yeah.
I think, don't exist, but I don't want to go there.
Yeah. So, from Guilherme's explanation, in between lives, then, as spirits, we are around. We are everywhere. We have overlays of, I guess, levels, and so spirits are free, and they are everywhere. Ebony asked a very, very good question that comes from the reflections that those questions ignite. Because if we were talking about that we are here incarnated to progress and learn and so on, and we have these moments in between lives where we are there, she asks, why we wait to reincarnate? Is it possible to make progress as a discarnate and bring that progress with us upon reincarnation?
I will say a large yes.
And what I was going to say is, you think like Kardec, because he asked the same question, and I didn't bring all the questions, but he asked the same question. And go, Guilherme. Guilherme already started answering. Go for it.
Sorry.
No. Go for it. Yeah.
We progress everywhere, here and there. And any progress we have remain with ourselves. But when we reincarnate, remember, we forget everything to start again. And that's the beauty, because we have an open book that you can write everything again, and you have your opportunity to do it right. You have the opportunity to give examples that you learned in your past incarnation, or even when you were on the other side. So that's the thing. And also, as we've spoken here before, I think is on the third time we had our conversation, is that there's a mechanism that we need to go through to retain all level of information and experiences. And that only happens when we reincarnated and we die again. But that's too complicated for today. So yes, you will learn the other side as well. You will evolve on the other side as well. But you need to come back.
I love Ebony's reaction. Woohoo! Yes, indeed. the way I see, just to compliment Guilherme, the way I see is like studying for a test. You have to go through the test. You have the opportunity to study if you want to prepare for the test. When you get to that, but you cannot skip the test. And I think the test is being incarnated here. Um, let me take back to the next one. So, spirits are everywhere. There's a spiritual world that's where they are. That's where we are, to be honest, as well. But we're not going to get there. So there are a few other questions I want to bring then, based on that. If these spirits are everywhere, I'm moving from spiritual world to intervention of spirits in the corporeal world. Kardec asked the spirits, can spirits see everything we do? They said they can, because you are constantly surrounded by them, which is natural based on what we just saw. The spirits are everywhere. Then there's a follow-up question, a few questions after, which is, do spirits have any influence on our thoughts and actions? We brought this question here multiple times already, but we'll probably bring a lot again and again and again. The answer to that question is, their influence on you in this regard is greater than you suppose. For very frequently, it is they who guide you. So here again, you can see the very strong connection and base for understanding mediumship from a spiritist perspective. Because we are all spirits, immortal spirits. When we die, we are able to still move around and go around. We still see things. We have opportunity to do things based on our own interests, because our personalities and interests, they come with us. After we die, it's not like we're reset and then I become this angel or anything. No, whatever I am interested in and I like to do and I'm committed to do in life, I will carry with me. And because I'm around everywhere, I can see things, I can connect to people, I can go to groups that have common interests, and I can influence people in their thoughts and their actions, which is the base behind the mediumistic phenomenon. Which is our third item here, the intervention of spiritists in the corporeal world. It's nothing but mediumship. I'm not going to repeat, we said multiple times that everybody's a medium, talk about ostensive mediums or non-ostensive mediums, but in reality, we are all susceptible to influence of spirits. And that influence, that connection, that relationship is pretty much mediumship. Guilherme, do you want to add anything else before I move on?
Yes. Now we know that we are surrounded by spirits. Now we know that they guide our decisions more than we think and frequently. So what kind of spirits you want to have around you? Well, can you answer that for me, Rafael, please?
Well, I would like to have spirits that are going to help me in my journey towards my progress.
And
that's what I would like.
How can you ensure that the spirits that will be around you are the right ones to help you?
If I maintain interests, my commitment with interests that are connected or towards that goal, which is like my spiritual enlightenment and my moral progress, and not my physical feelings and needs and impulses, which I probably need to work on.
We all have to, all the time. By the way, in the human physics, two bodies with different polarities, they attract themselves. In the spiritual world, the physical effect in the spiritual world is the opposite. The equal act, different repel. So we need to make a choice. What do we want to do? On the spiritual friends we want to have. And if you decide to make a choice, the choice is made already. So I would suggest that we should all move an extra leg to try to have better spiritual friends, because that's part of a good progress already.
Let me then, based on what we saw so far, three main items, right? Spirits, the spiritual realm, like the immortal spirits who reincarnate and have mediumship, three of them. So this is all Kardec's organization of the teachings from the spirits and the knowledge that he organized for us. He put all of this knowledge. First, what he did was he got all of this knowledge and organized that in terms of a philosophy and teachings and put in the spirits book. So based on that book, you have all of the knowledge to understand the reality of the spiritual world and us and so on. Now that we understand there's also this ability, this interaction between spirits and us, Kardec went ahead and said, look, this is the reality. There are spirits, there are spiritual worlds. We are all spirits going through in our journey. There's a possibility for communication and interactions between the spirits that are discarnate with us through mediums, and the ways to do that, the ways to understand why that happens, how that happens, what's the best way and the safest way for you to, I guess, use that skill, understand that skill. Kardec created another book and to explain that, which was the Medium's book, as a follow-up from the Spirit's book. And Guilherme was pretty much laying the groundwork for me to land the message now. We already said that, and I'm going to repeat that so many times. Not only in our moral progress, but especially when we're talking about mediumship, if we want to have the support of good spirits around us, and if we want to have the good spirits connected to us in any activity we're doing, but especially when we're talking about mediumship, we need to build our fortress. Our fort is what? Is our moral standards, is what are we prioritizing? What are our interests? How are we dealing with people? And so on. So after Kardec gave us, look, this is the manual to understand and deal with mediumship. And by the way, for you to do that, you need your moral fort to be firm. He gave us the gospel according to Spiritism. So he was pretty much giving us step by step, look, this is the knowledge for you to understand. This is how interactions work, and if you want to understand how they work, that's how to do it. And this is how you protect yourself and help, I guess, speed up your journey. He has other books, by the way, but these three are just very nicely complementing one another in this journey. And you can already see the link with mediumship. That's why whenever we talk about mediumship, we go back to these three books, because you have the explanation of how things are, explanation on how mediumship works, and then explanation on how to progress in our moral journey in these three books, all in Kardec. Which, by the way, this final one, which is our moral perfection, is the final item, the final base that I want to bring from Spiritism. That's actually connected to two. The journey to perfection we're talking about is moral perfection. But how do we know who to follow, how to do it, where to get that? What is moral perfection? First of all, we have the understanding of what's right and wrong within every single one of us. But once again, Kardec went and asked, question 625, what is the perfect standard that God has offered to humankind as a guide and model? 3 words: look at Jesus. Very simple, very precise. What did Jesus teach us? He says that all of his teachings are in this sentence: love God above all things and your neighbor as yourself. So, when we are talking about mediumship, we are always coming from these principles: the existence of spirits. We are all spirits, immortal. We have bodies now. We won't have bodies afterwards. Then we're gonna have bodies again. Then we're not gonna have bodies, and that's just how it goes. Because reincarnation is the base for our progress. As spirits don't have bodies and spirits who have bodies, we have the ability to communicate with one another, influence one another. That is the not only the base. So that's why there's a I guess a confusion. So what is first, spiritism or mediumship? It's spiritism came from mediumship and explains mediumship. So it is a principle of spiritism, mediumship. And the last two is, why are we going through this and why do we have all of these things happening? Because we are on our journey to reach perfection. The journey is our moral progress day by day. And the North Star is Jesus Christ as the example that God brought to us. Anything to add, Guilherme?
I think that if we forget everything else, but if we follow the examples that were given by Jesus, we cannot make it wrong. I think that's the most important at all.
Very, very right. There is one question here that came through that we didn't answer, and we're overrunning a little bit, but I'm just gonna give a quick answer just so it's not left unanswered. But we can definitely develop that in future sessions. Thais was asking when we were talking about reincarnation, why don't we remember it completely? And that question unfolds a lot. So Guilherme is smiling. Guilherme, do you want to give a quick answer before we close?
Yes. Thais, do you like spoiler alerts before you go to the movie? That's one of the main reasons. If you remember anything, is a risk to your current incarnation, because you can do things wrong again and you can be persuaded and do the same mistakes again. That's one of the main reasons. Spoiler alert.
It would probably cause us, if you trust God is perfect, and that's how things are, it would probably cause more harm than help. But it's as I said, it's a bigger topic. We can cover it in the next session. Look, we already 4 minutes overrunning, so I'm just gonna close. Today was brilliant. A lot of interactions. Thank you everyone for your comments. It was super nice to see all of you. Hopeful to see you soon again. Before I close, I just want to remind us, where is it? Remind us all that SSL is offering a Medium's book course on Saturdays. We're going through, it's a structured study, so you're going through every single item of the Medium's book. It's free. If you want to join us every Saturday. Again, it's open for questions. You can bring your questions, examples, or cases. The idea is to have a full understanding about the Medium's book. And that was the only announcement I had. I'll probably bring more announcements next time. With that, I'm going to say thank you, everyone. And that's a bye from me, and that's a bye from Guilherme. Ciao.
Ciao. Thank everyone.